Psalm 90, verses 7 through 12. For we have been consumed by your anger, and by your wrath we have been dismayed. You have placed our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your presence. For all our days have declined in your fury. We have finished our years like a sigh. As for the days of our life, they contain 70 years, or if due to strength, 80 years. Yet their pride is but labor and sorrow. For soon it is gone, and we fly away. Who understands the power of your anger and your fury according to the fear that is due you? So teach us to number our days, that we may present to you a heart of wisdom. Do you know the most amazing thing about this? This psalm was not written by David. This was written by Moses when he was about 80 years old. And what he's saying here is the life of a man is 70 years, 80 if you're really blessed and strong. Moses was about 80. He's lamenting at the end of his life, saying, not much has been accomplished. God, I've had a lot of problems. I've sinned a lot. I've not really accomplished much of anything. I know many people feel like that. Here he is, 80 years old, saying that. Do you know the most amazing thing? How long did Moses live? 120. When did all the good stuff happen in his life? Between 80 and 120. See, the first 40 years of Moses' life, he lived in Egypt as a somebody. I mean, he was in the Pharaoh's court. He was the son of Pharaoh. He was an important man. And then the next 40 years, he lived as a nobody in the desert, herding sheep. Really, nobody knew him, no notoriety. So the first 40 years, he was a somebody. The second 40 years, he was a nobody. The third 40 years, he found out what God could do with a nobody. And the most amazing thing is this psalm, when you read Psalm 90, I encourage you to read the whole psalm. This was written by Moses when he was 80 years old and he thought his life was about over. And he goes, teach us to number our days that we can, I hope I've learned some wisdom here, Lord. I hope something has happened within these 80 years, but not much. He thought his life was over. And here's my message to you today. Your best days are ahead of you. You might be already 80 years old. Maybe you're 90. You know what? Your best days are ahead of you. Why is that? Because God has a destiny for every one of us. And God will accomplish something through us as we just open ourselves to Him. So what happened really in Moses' life, it took 80 years for him to be emptied of self. In the first 40 years, he was full of self. In the second 40 years, he was emptied of self. And in the third 40 years, God used a man who was devoid of self, empty of self, who said, God, I can't do anything, but if you could use me, I'm available. And God used him powerfully. I believe God will use you powerfully that same way. Maybe you're 20 years old and you're looking forward to many things in life. For sure, your best days are ahead. Or maybe you're 60 or 50 or 70. I want to tell you, your best days are ahead. Everything that you've learned up till now, every experience you've had, adversity you faced, things that have overcome you, things that you've overcome have been preparation for what God is about to release in your life. Your best days are ahead of you. So, Father, I pray for everyone listening today that we would grab hold of hope. Father, that every one of us would get a vision of your future, things that you spoke to us. Boy, God says this to somebody. Listen, not one word that God has spoken to you that has not yet come to pass will fall to the ground without accomplishing the purpose for which it was sent. Do you know that God will accomplish everything that He said to you? And I believe that's a specific rhema word for somebody. God says to you, yes, many things I've spoken to you and they have not yet come to pass. God says, I'm not yet finished. I'm not finished. Your best days are ahead. Amen.